department, as well as I've been doing that for all other departments as well. The reality is that I've asked staff to provide me with their presentation to the board in advance so that I can review it, because they have never done this. Well, unfortunately, I got that review, I got that PowerPoint presentation Friday evening very late. It did not give me enough time to review and provide feedback. So when I saw that on Sunday and I reviewed it, immediately I called Dr. McNeil, the chair, to say I have a concern here. One, because the presentation for me, and unfortunately I have to tell you this, wasn't the quality I was expecting. And I don't want something to come before the school board or the public when it's not ready for prime time. One thing, it was not comprehensive enough. It didn't even address some of the issues that I know are important to you and I around African American history. It had nothing in it. So I said, listen, we're not going to do this, guys, to lead. So I called, and I don't want you to think that.
Oh no, I'm just shocked.
No, well, I am dealing with the past. I'm trying to create the path for the future. So a part of this, obviously, I would have had worse if you were inside there listening to a presentation that had not tell you very much, frankly. And again, I don't want to in any way demean the work of the staff, but I just want to know that, yes, there have been a culture that has been exist that I'm trying to change, and it's not going to happen overnight. A part of it is the setting up the expectation. Are you laughing at me? Okay. So a part of that is the time it will take for me to bring about those cultural changes and make certain I set the right expectation for staff. I don't have the luxury to have a blank slate. Okay, so I have to work with the people that I have, make certain that I set the right expectation for them. So that's what I'm doing. So with the presentation that was actually prepared for today, unfortunately, I called Lee. I left him a voice message just so that he could be aware. I called him yesterday evening. Late at night, I believe I called you as well. And I was trying to reach a number of other persons just to try to get to you to make sure that you know that we're not having that presentation today. And we are planning to do this at the last board meeting in February. I marched yesterday already. As a result of that, I need to see the presentation completed by next week so that I have enough time to review it to give feedback. So once again, I can't tell you how much I apologize for this kind of situation, for you to be here and we're not doing a presentation. I intend to fix that. That will not happen again. I promise you that it will not. So I wanted to come by to talk to you. That doesn't help because you spend when you're here. And I want you to know that we're going to fix this issue. Any questions? Any comments?
Maybe buy into just reading. Also, do you have volunteers set up to read the curriculum? Because some of us read it and make notes.
So here's where the broader picture of this particular presentation. So our question was asking if we have volunteers who could come and read in the curriculum. So again, just to be clear, the intent of these presentations by each of the departments that I've asked is to help the board to understand the work of the district. All right, that's abroad, because that has not happened for how long I don't know. The point I'm making is that I've inherited a situation where my board is not well informed, and as a result of that, there is a basic distrust between staff and the board. I can't have that. I have to clear that out. So to build confidence, I have to properly inform board, be transparent with the work of the district. So I've asked the finance department to do that. I've asked the facilities folks to do that already. And I've asked HR to do it. Now this was the curriculum turn. My sense is that this presentation that was prepared did not reflect for me the kind of work that I am accustomed to in terms of the quality and the presentation. And I said, I'm not going to have you do that, because that is a reflection on me. Personally, I take it personal. So I want to make certain that when you come before them, you better shine. And so I want to make certain they're shining. Plus, as I said, there was nothing in it addressing a core issue that all of you here are concerned about. And I said it. If you didn't take my word for it, go look at my in my office right now on a board. I wrote it down. I have an outline, and I said African American, African history must be represented here. You've got to be able to show people what we're doing, so that indeed, even if they don't agree with what we're doing, they need to know what we're doing, and fundamentally bring about necessary change. So I want you to know that you have access to me to be able to bring any questions, any comments, tell me what you're doing before you do it, so that we can work together.
I fully accept you.
I've
had an adversarial position here for so long. My question, I have a lead-on question from what Susan said about people to read, because within our community, we often talk about that. We talk about saying advising, and there are many people in there who like to say. And also, when this meeting February 17th does happen, what is the format? Will there be time for public comments in that?
Okay. So let me answer the latter part of the question first of all. These updates I'm providing is really information sharing with the board and the community. There's not a time because it's a workshop. It's not your regular board meeting. It's a workshop. There's no decisions to be made. It's just a presentation. That's what that is, and that's what's going to happen today as well. The regular meeting starts at 6 o'clock, as you know, which we're going to have. However, during the regular meeting, you can raise questions. During the regular meeting, you can address things from the workshop in the regular meeting. You need to know that's the way you do it. Citizens input. You ask any question you want. Again, during that time, we take note of it. You will not necessarily get a response from a board member or myself, but we could give you a response. So from that standpoint, the second point I want to get to is, first of all, relating to the volunteer or the advisory. I want to talk about that. The advisory, I am putting together a number of advisory to the superintendent. One of the advisory, this is a very important point to clarify, one of the advisory group that I will be creating is an African American advisory group. It is not specific to the task force work you're doing. It's about the issues relating to African American. That's the advisory group. I have not yet put that together, but I have that group. 7 to 10 persons I'd like to bring together. I just need to know, again, how to identify the key and the right people to sit at the table that can represent the community concerns around African American advisory. Getting back to the question earlier, okay, relating to reviewing the curriculum. I said to Khalid from day one, we were new, my first meeting with you, I thought I was going to meet with you alone. I saw 41 people show up. You remember that, right? Yes. That's all right. I'm okay with that. I've just asked him to help me to prepare for what we're going to. I have no problem with that. But here's what I said to you at that meeting, and I want to remind you. I said, I'm ready to work with you and work with anyone around the African American, African history, and the teaching in our schools. My point to that issue is by saying that, yes, I want to make sure that the curriculum department is not only designing and have the right curriculum, but the resources to support that, and how do we ensure we have the right structure in place to implement it? Because we can create anything on paper. We can put it on a website. The question is, how do we execute it? And that's why I said to you, let's work together so we can determine how do we execute this. Because our hands get tied on a number of issues, which I don't need to get into right now, as we talk about these issues. And we need to just sit around the table, have that frank discussion, and let's find the best way to accomplish this. So your superintendent is very ready to work with you, sir. I want you to know that. The past is the past.
I can't suggest that any past super would have come out here to talk to us like this.
Here. That's right. Here.
Listen, the past is the past. I've said to my board, it's a new day. And you didn't bring me on just to fill a seat. You brought me on to create changes for the improvement of this community, and that's what I'm here for.
Right. I just wanted to say the same thing Colleen just mentioned. Thank you for coming out and speaking with us. But I'm also the chair, one of the chairs. We have 3 chairs. Would you be able to send whatever you send to Colleen also to me? You have my email. You have actually, to be in contact with Rose. I called, I gave her the email, and I'll give it to you as well. Because sometimes he may not check his email as much as I do.
All right.
So we don't want to have the same problem again.
Yes,
so
ma'am. Yes,
send,
ma'am. I got you.
Send whatever you send into him, send to me, and I'll send to everybody else.
So let me suggest to you a thought for you to consider, and of course the leadership of the group. I think it's very important, as I mentioned, around this curriculum presentation in February. Why don't you allow that presentation to go forward before we have any meeting? Take from that, because I've asked now that it needs to be addressed, I've asked for us to show actual artifacts about what we're doing, explain how we are implementing this in our schools. I think the public needs to know that, the board needs to know that, and then I would believe from that if you can glean ideas to say, okay, I don't like that, or this might not be the best way to do it. Then let's come back to you, just like you call the task force with those 41 people, bring them back again. If whatever you want to do, and I will be happy to come sit with that task force, bring the people on my staff to sit with you so we can go. So rather than sharing any documentation now, let's use that as a forum to come back and have a discussion and develop a path going forward as to how we will accomplish this.
I want to ask if you please give the people preparing the report the liberty to contact us to let them know about some resources, such as the online resources of the statewide Black History Task Force. I don't know if they're aware or if they've access to.
I don't know.
It's a
I don't know,
fantastic body that they could use.
Okay, so my question to you right now would be, would we want them to put that in a report when they're not using it?
No.
See, that's exactly why I asked some questions. I want this presentation to be the realistic representation of what's happening now. That's what I'm trying, because it has never happened. It has never happened. If I'm going to get to the issues inside of the system, I need to know what's in the system. And one of my ways to judge that is to have the people who work for me tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. Gotcha. I don't know that yet. And the one little me, even though they call me Flash Gordon, there's no way I'm going to be able to get to and see what everybody's doing.
Well, we call you Marcus Garvey. You're Marcus Garvey.
I know. But frankly, I'm bad. You know, he's my countryman. You know that.
I know.
Oh boy, you got me at that far. You got me at that far.
I visualize Kirby Smith Elementary School. I visualize this being restored to an East Side center for elementary children, and that your staff could easily be placed in portables, and they could do their work, show that they're really interested in what's going on in the schools, and not what I consider kind of like a palace. And I don't think that's unrealistic, because that'll make them think the important things that what the students are doing. You know, this was elementary school. And those of us who live downtown would love to see this as a model for East Gainesville. We've actually talked about it. So there's an idea.
Very good.
All right.
All right. Well, ladies
Thank
and gentlemen, I want you to know once again, I can't tell you how much I apologize for this, again, situation. I just want you to know that. And again, Kali, I just want you to know. I mean, I don't take this personally. You need to know that. I just want to make sure that, again, as you said, you need to know that there is a different day. You can talk to the superintendent. You can engage me on any issues, no matter how sensitive, no matter how difficult, and that goes to any of you about this issue. Because you know what? I have a true respect for the humanity in all of us, and I want to make sure that none of us are so smart, you know, but the collective genius that we all bring to the table, that is better. That is better. And that's why I believe in engagement, in involvement, and inclusiveness. So you're on my team, friend. I just want you to know that. Thank you so much for coming.
Just one thing I'd like to share with you. You were talking about the structures necessary and the